The NBA's offseason has kicked into high gear as free agent signings, trades are underway. Last week, Kevin Durant requested to be traded away from the Brooklyn Nets. Tonight, we give our thoughts on where we think the top NBA star will end up in the offseason. Reportedly, Kyrie Irving wants to join back up with LeBron in Los Angeles. Will Kyrie join the King to team up once again, this time in LA? Also, max money contracts have been dealt to some of the top NBA's young rising stars. Phoenix's Devin Booker, Chicago's Zach LaVine, and Denver's Nikola Jokic have all signed max money deals. My friends, the madness is just getting started, and it is a madhouse in the NBA's offseason. There is no telling who will be traded or signed next in the NBA's offseason period. It's showtime. From the gridiron to the court, talking all that is sports. Members of the Buzzard of the Nation bring to you our Nation Sports Show. Here are your hosts, Ezra Vickery, Joey Thornton, Randy Giron, and Stephen Wyand.
All right, let's go, everybody. We are live. We are here. Happy 4th of July to everybody out there. Man, what a great holiday it was. We hope everybody had a great time. But now we are back with the sports. Our Nation Sports Show is live. We are here. And, of course, we're here to give you all the latest in the world of sports, including, like our buddy Steven said in the intro, all the latest and greatest NBA trade talk. We got trades and signings and all different sorts of chaos going on right now. It's gonna be an absolute banger show for all of us. And let's talk about first the way you can interact with us and follow us on our social media. Of course, you can follow us at twitter.com/ON_sports show, youtube.com. We officially now hit 100 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you to everybody who follows us and continue to follow us since the very beginning. We thank you guys so much. Please help us keep sharing, keep helping us climb the ladder and getting us more subscribers, and getting us to the point where we can even make money off this show, which would be nice. But that's in the near future. That's in the near future. But thank you to everybody for the 100 subscribers. We will have an updated custom URL as soon as it's available. And when we do, we will share it with the world. Also, you can follow us on our Discord, discord.gg/Nation's Corner. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Our Nation Sports Show. You can also follow the Nation's Corner at all their social medias, Twitter, Facebook, and all that. You can find that all on the Discord as well. And, of course, catch their show on Saturdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, 6 Central on youtube.com/The Nation's Corner, where they talk everything pro wrestling. And, of course, we sprinkle in a little bit every once in a while here on the show whenever we have a little bit of a lull in the conversation. But today I don't see that happening because we got a lot to talk about, and we'll get into that right now, as a matter of fact. But first, let's introduce our people here in the show. First, we got with us with the Gerard.
Yeah,
in the background. Yeah, okay, it's George. Quit bullshitting me.
No, that's not. It's not. Totally not.
Oh, okay,
it's totally
sure.
Not.
Oh, sure. Anyways, with that big ass G that I'm glad it's not Green Bay. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Randy Giron. What's going on, dude?
Hey, what's going on? My name is not Randy. I have to change my name there. I'm a bunch of numbers. But I'm glad to be here tonight. Hope everybody's good. I want to give a shout out to Todd Giron, the man. Hope you like it. And lots to talk about, so let's go.
Yes, definitely. Got a lot to talk about. Next up on the list is our one of our best buddies here on this show, Of course, our other buddy Kevin Rory not here with the family obligation. So of course, with us every week is Joseph Thornton. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody had an absolute bombastic 4th of July weekend. Hope y'all had lots of fun. And I know this isn't a wrestling show, but I got to bring this in real quick. I want to say a very, very special congratulations to the one, the only, Liv Morgan for winning Mid-Bank and cashing in on Ronda Rousey to become the new SmackDown Women's Champion for her first title in WWE. So congratulations, Liv Morgan. You deserve it.
Absolutely. As Dave LaGreca said on Twitter, a New Jersey girl does good. So congratulations to Liv Morgan on doing both feats in one night and really cementing her name in the history books. But finally, we got to introduce this guy. We can't do it without this guy, the patriarch of this show, the man who built this show, born this show. Without this dude, this show would not be here. He's my heavy metal brother from North Kakalaki, who last week went and saw the world famous stadium tour featuring Motley Crue, Poison, Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, and Def Leppard, along with Classic Act Opening. The one, the only, Steven motherfucking Wyand. What's going on, dude?
What is going on, everybody? Not what with the cat dragged in, but what we've got right here. We're dragging in some good old sports talk right here for all of you guys. And man, before we get the show on the road, what a hell of a show last week in Charlotte, North Carolina, with the stadium tour hitting up Charlotte's Bank of America Stadium. The best thing to hit Bank of America Stadium, not Cam Newton. Sorry, Panther fans. It was the stadium tour with Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Joan Jett, the Blackhearts, Poison, and Classless Act. Absolutely putting on one hell of a show for all 40+ thousand people in that stadium. And man, I mean, every band brought it. Classless Act, the new band, if you never heard them, check them out. It kind of got like this Motley Crue meets Skid Row kind of vibe. And then you got Joan Jett coming up and 40+ minutes of kicking ass and raising hell. And then speaking of raising hell and kicking ass, Bret Michaels, my goodness gracious. Poison went on that stage for 50 minutes or so and absolutely owned that stage. And the energy from Bret Michaels and company was absolutely spectacular. And then Motley Crue got up on there and did the damn thing and put on a great show. And it was Tommy Lee's first official show back from breaking his ribs about 4 weeks ago. And Tommy is now fully back with the band playing drums. And man, let me tell you, he's got one of the best sounding kits live in person, man. And played about 15 songs and played all the hits. And then Def Leppard did Def Leppard. You know, they went out there, played the hits, and the new songs off the new album that just came out a couple of months ago absolutely sound fantastic live, you know. And if you've never been to a Leopard show, a Motley show, Poison, Joan Jett, I fully recommend. If this tour is coming near you, in a city near you, or even if it's drivable, I would go to it because it is a phenomenal show. And it's a phenomenal package with great music. And there was a lot of young fans out there that never saw these bands live. And that was my second Motley show and third Def Leppard show and first Poison and Joan Jett. And what can I say, man? I'm so happy to be back on the show with you guys and talking about the wildness in the NBA offseason with the free agent signings and all the trades. And we're so happy to have 100 subscribers. Finally. So with that being said, let's rock and roll.
Oh, yeah.
Hang on. I gotta add something real quick. Steven, in regards to what you said about Cam Newton not being the best thing happened to Charlotte, I guess you can say, I thought an injury-ridden Christian McCaffrey was the best in the run in Carolina.
Well, at least everybody
that's a razor thin close second.
Well, at least everybody at this stadium tour was actually healthy. But I digress.
I had to throw that in there.
Run CMC.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, run CMC. He's running out of fucking North Carolina.
But his Adidas
into the ground. Into the ground, yes.
Yeah, he'll be celebrate. Maybe he'll celebrate Christmas time in Hollis, Queens.
Hey. Hey, I will say though, at least at least Christian McCaffrey was a better runner than Mr. Randall Cunningham that we see on the screen right here.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness.
All right, let's get it because there is a shit ton to talk about. And you know what? Since I am hosting this bitch show right now, you know what? I'm starting with the Bulls. Fuck everybody else. And you know what? The biggest news to come out of Chicago is of course, it was pretty much confirmed weeks ago, but it's now pen to paper. Zach LaVine is staying in Chicago. 5 years, $215 million of that money. And dude, it is going to be an amazing, it's an amazing signing for Chicago because to me, Zach LaVine was that key cog in that offense last year, especially. I feel like that he was one of the integral pieces along with Alex Caruso, even Lonzo Ball to a point where Lonzo was playing his minutes and getting his points, where that team really had a chance to make it further to the playoffs had Zach LaVine been 100% healthy and not still recovering from knee issues. But I'm glad the guy is an amazing player, great shooter, great leader on the floor. He's going to help Chicago build their team to the next level in the future, especially this coming year, especially with the signings they made, which we'll talk about more in just a second because I want to get into Zach first. I feel like that with this signing that they're really cementing their places. Not only the Bulls are cementing their place as a top contender with a player like Zach, but also they're building their future. And I feel like the future is going to revolve around guys like Zach, like Alex Caruso, like Alonzo Ball, like those types of players. And, it's going to be awesome to see how they turn out. Anybody want to take the reins on this?
I gotta say, Zach LaVine going back to the Bulls is probably the smartest move the Chicago Bulls could ever make in NBA free agency. And think if DeMar DeRozan stays with the Bulls, which I'm pretty sure he will, because I don't see him getting traded anytime soon.
I don't see him go. I don't see him going nowhere at all.
But yeah, I mean, just think a healthy Zach LaVine, a healthy DeMar DeRozan, a healthy Lonzo Ball, a healthy Alex Caruso. You're looking at a possibly legitimate threat for the Eastern Conference next year already in the Chicago Bulls. And I mean, because all four of those players, not all four of them are very prolific scorers, but one thing that all four of those have together is the playmaking ability that they have. And we saw it last year in the Eastern Conference. Now, obviously, some injuries kind of got in the way, but if you have those four guys healthy for at least almost a full season, the Bulls are definitely a legitimate threat to possibly even catch up to teams like the Bucks, the Heat, and yes, I said the Heat, surprisingly, the Celtics. Possibly the Hawks, because the Hawks have made some splashes here in the free agency. But yeah, the Bulls are definitely a legitimate threat right now if they could just keep all four of those guys healthy.
I agree 100%. It was a lot of injuries. Unfortunately, Alex Caruso suffered concussion, knee injuries to Lonzo, and LaVine both kept them pretty down on the sidelines for a while. It just seemed like there was a little bit of a rash of injuries, but then it was like that for a lot of teams last year. There seemed like injuries were very prolific on some of the best players. But like I said, there's no excuses. There's nothing, in the sport. I feel like that the Bulls as a team, and like you said, as long as they stay healthy, are going to be I feel like they're going to be a legitimate threat. And like you said, the Hawks made a splash free agency, and we will get to that signing. Definitely, for sure. Steven, your thoughts?
I think it's a great signing for Chicago. I mean, this Zach LaVine is a bright, young, rising star in the NBA, and he had a great year for Chicago this past season. And Chicago was one of the better stories of the NBA this past season. And they didn't make it over the hump because of all the injuries that they had and the ups and the downs, losing the great teams in Milwaukee and the Celtics and Miami. Those are going to be Chicago's biggest tests in this upcoming year. because they are on the rise, and it'll take them a bit to get there. But once they get there, it's going to be because of LaVine. And LaVine, he has nothing to lose this past year. I mean, he had a great year and put up some great numbers and all that good jazz. And so I'm looking forward to a great career for this young man and going forward with Chicago, because he might be the best thing to hit Chicago since Derrick Rose was drafted in 2009 and had those great years in Chicago.
I agree, Randy.
And let's just hope that he can stay healthy.
Oh yeah. I see big things for the Bulls with LaVine. They also have you were mentioning all those players. They also have was it Vucevic?
Yeah,
Vucevic, who I like watching him play. He's got a real good game, and he's always a factor. So I think they'll definitely contend. They were doing great until injury bug hit all of them. I've heard they're talking about trading that Kobe White and different players like that, and he might as well, if he's not going to fit there, and he's a good young player, try to get someone in a deal for him. When he strike while the iron's hot, as they say. Don't wait until it's too late for the team and for him. You don't want to see him get stuck there, and if he's just not going to fit. Just get somebody in there, and they'll do. And the East is so tough all the time. So that's usually what happens. How a lot of those teams break down. So hopefully they can all stay healthy, and I think they'll be a big time contender if healthy.
Oh yeah, definitely. Huge signing here. The Bulls also with other free agency news, they did gain Andre Drummond too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
that's a great move for Chicago.
That's a
great move.
That
definitely gives him a force on the inside who can actually snag 20, 25 rebounds a game.
Yeah, he's a guy who is a veteran center who knows how to get in the paint, get rebounds. Offense, this guy knows how to go in there, and he gets his points when it counts. He's not a big scorer in the center. He's never was. You don't see Andre Drummond getting 15, 20 points a game, but you see him grabbing 15, 20, 25 rebounds a game, and that's what you need. Yeah. You need a guy in the paint who's going to make a difference on the rebounding, and that's going to help. When you get that rebound, it's going to get those second chances for Chicago to get their shooters like a DeMar DeRozan or Zach LaVine out on whether it be the 3-point line or to get them out to reset the play. It's going to make a hell of a difference. And Andre Drummond's traveled. I mean, he's been with Detroit for years. I remember Andre Drummond being with Detroit for years and being an absolute demon on us. When all those Pistons Bulls games with D Rose on the team and all those guys, he was a force with Tayshaun Prince and all the gang over there in Detroit. I remember that. And so that is an excellent pickup by Chicago. I believe it was $6.6 million for 2 years, which is a veteran style deal, which is perfect. It's not a crazy deal, and it doesn't go against any bit of the salary cap that the Bulls have. So which is great job by the Bulls organization on that pickup.
Oh yeah.
But
hasn't been a guy that rebounded that basketball just like him in years. I mean, he is a great rebounder of the ball.
Absolutely. That's why he's been around for as long as he has. Not only has he been relatively injury free, which is great, and he's still at a pretty good point in his career where he's still, got some spring in his step and and all this stuff. He's not he's one of those players who's not broken down at his age. He can still go. And that's the one thing that's going to be the difference for centers in the league. A lot of these centers, especially guys who are big guys, 6'11", 7 feet 1, they suffer things like back and knee problems because of their height, because of foot problems, because of their height and their weight. But if you're a guy like Andre Drummond, who is an absolute beast at what he does and stays healthy, you're looking at, like I said, a potential threat for any team that tries to play play offense on him, that tries to get an offensive rebound, because Drummond will get there and he will get that rebound and throw it back out to DeMar DeRozan or whoever. I'm excited for this team, and I'm excited to see what goes on. But we got other big trades and other stuff to get to. You mentioned the Atlanta Hawks. Let's talk about it. One of the big ones is the Atlanta Hawks have got now DeJounte Murray. This was a big, huge trade. Not only did he get DeJounte Murray, but also got Jock Landale for Danilo Gallinari, a 2023 first-round pick via Charlotte from New York, 2025 first-round pick, 2026 pick swap, and a 2027 first-round pick. Of course, it's all reported by Adrian Wojnarowski from ESPN, of course. But this is a huge signing for Atlanta to get this guy, and now he'll play alongside Trae Young. Whew. That's all I gotta say is that court there. I think it's gonna be a hell of a team to battle with Murray and freaking Trae Young. Holy shit!
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And and that is the best thing that the Atlanta Hawks could have done, because the Hawks knew they had an elite playmaker in Trae Young. So they were like, we need to go out and find another hotshot young guy who has about the same amount of elite talent as Trae Young, so they could form a dominant 1-2 backcourt punch. And all of a sudden, they hear about this guy in San Antonio named DeJounte Murray. And they were like, this guy really helped the Spurs get into the playoffs this year. So it may be a reach, but let's try to get this guy. And lo and behold, they got him. And now the Hawks have that 1-2 backcourt punch that is going to scare opposing team defenses. And yes, I'm saying scare opposing team defenses, because not only do you have legitimate playmakers that can pass, shoot, rebound, steal, no matter what it is, but you also have two very prolific scorers who can shoot from deep, who can pull up and hit a fadeaway from 15, 20 feet out, who can step just beyond the half court line and knock down a buzzer beater with a few seconds left. Both Trae Young and DeJounte Murray can both do that. And now that they're on the same team, all I got to say is Eastern Conference, watch out for this dynamic duo.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Definitely. Randy, let's get your thoughts.
Murray's an up-and-coming player. For Atlanta to get him to pair with Young is a big get on their part. I've heard that they're not done. I've been reading up on it, that they're not done. They may even try to get DeAndre Ayton. They have some other players that they could possibly get rid of to get him. They traded that Kevin Huerter, I can't think of how to say his name right, but he was a pretty big piece of those teams. The playoff run the last 2 years. They let him go, so I think Murray will fit right in there, though. A great player for the Spurs. Knows what it takes to win. Is in that team mentality at all times. Popovich guy. So definitely a good get for them. And definitely, like I said, all those teams. I was saying about the competing in the East. The Hawks are definitely going to be in the mix, for sure.
And that's the one thing that Atlanta was missing was players that could help out Trae Young, because Trae Young a couple of years ago, as we all know, took Atlanta to the Eastern Conference Finals against Giannis Antetokounmpo and the eventual champions of the Milwaukee Bucks, and took them to 6 games. But what kept Trae Young and Atlanta from going further than that, because they were probably the best Cinderella team in quite some time, because remember they knocked out Philadelphia, and then they knocked out who did they beat in the other round? They beat Philadelphia, I know for a fact, and they
I think it was Miami.
I think it was Miami. And
I think it was Miami. Yeah.
I believe it was Miami as well. And, I mean, Young in that playoff series 2 seasons ago played an absolute fantastic series. And then last year he was up and down all year. He was injured at times, and he had an off year at times last year, just wasn't, healthy at times. And his shot selection was poor at times because he didn't have a lot of help, helping him out and stuff. And I really think this is a good signing for Atlanta, because this will really give Young time to to rest at times, because having that extra bit of help on the backcourt is going to be a real benefit for him and Atlanta for sure.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, definitely. Let's get into and of course we're gonna continue with the trade talk or signings. We got to get into some of the biggest signings of this entire free agency so far. Trust me, it's only been open for 5 days, and I think if I had to calculate, I would say it's over $2 billion, $3 billion worth of contracts.
Oh yeah.
Let's start with one of the first big ones, and that is Bradley Beal he signed a 5-year, $251 million maximum contract to stay with the Washington Wizards.
Shocker. Absolute shocker, because you figured that Bradley Beal, with a star caliber player like he is, all the great years he's had with Washington, and unfortunately, like a lot of great players do in this league that aren't on great teams consistently, they fail in the end. They don't make it further as far as into the playoffs, or they don't make it at all. And Bradley Beal, is one of the best two guards in the National Basketball Association. I mean, he can shoot the gym out for all I care. And just his tenacity on the offensive end, and just the way he plays, and he's consistent, and good for him, and he deserves the money, in my opinion. But I am honestly surprised that he did not go to a title contending team, or a team that could use, a piece like him, like in Atlanta, or hell, even like a Miami, because Miami sure needs players on that team to help out. Maybe he could have gone to Chicago, who knows? Maybe he could have gone, to the Clippers. He could have gone to the Rockets. I mean, the Celtics. I mean, there's a lot of teams out there that could use help like him, and he's one of the best shooters in this league. And shocked that he decided to stay with his team, Washington. That just shows, true dedication to stay with your organization, and loyal.
That's what I was gonna say too, Steven. Is look, you've been a part of your team as long as he has. The truth is, when you have loyalty to that team, sometimes loyalty takes precedence over, selfish goals like championships and all that stuff. Because when you think about it, some players, would they love to be a part of a team that could win championships? Would they love to go to let's say, the Bucks? Would they love to go to Chicago? Would they love to go to Golden State or Phoenix, or definitely not the Lakers? But would they love to go to other teams like that? Absolutely.
Sure.
But there are players who are strictly loyal to a team because they gave them that first shot. They gave them that first chance, and they don't want to leave that organization behind. And Bradley Beal, after John Wall left, after that Wizards team evolving, John Wall, Bradley Beal, everybody else, when they all left, Bradley Beal was the one who stuck around. Bradley Beal was the one who said to an organization, hey, no matter what happens, I'm staying here. You guys had me to help build around for the future. And he's a veteran. He's been in this game for 10 plus years. And yes, he signed. To me, I'm not shocked at all, because when I saw the trade, I was more shocked about the money they gave him, but I could see why. Because he's their star player, because he's their guy. And he's going to be the guy that's going to help tutor these young players when they come in and build this team around those young players when he decides to hang up the basketball shoes for good. So he's going to be a major part of the Wizards organization from here on out, whether he's in the court, on the court. It's because he has that loyalty. And sometimes loyalty overtakes any sort of selfish goal. He may not win a title in his lifetime, but who knows? He may be the most prolific Washington Wizard of all time without winning a title. That could be a possibility. It just depends on how history plays and how he does as a player. That's just my opinion on that. I think that it's just with the loyalty to the team, I think that's the reason why he stuck around. And I'm not shocked by it, because we've seen that happen before.
I mean, Dirk Nowitzki, the longest time, even if he did not win a championship with Dallas, ended up in 2010, 2011. I really truly think that Dirk, no matter what, would have been loyal to Dallas, and obviously he was. And that championship solidified him as a Hall of Famer. He was already a Hall of Famer as well, but having that ring, on his finger, solidified him as a Hall of Fame player, and well, deservedly. And Bradley Beal is taking those sentiments of Nowitzki, no matter how your team is, staying true to your team, staying true to the community that you've been around for the past decade plus. And, win or lose, he's staying with the ship that he's been on for 10 plus years. And John Wall has obviously jumped the boat and went to different teams and stuff like that, and going to Houston and not even playing. Now he's on the Clippers. We'll see how he does. We'll see how John Wall does over there in LA land with, a healthy Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and everybody down there in Los Angeles. And it's going to be rather interesting to see how Bradley does this upcoming year with Washington and where they finish.
Right. Well, I think what it is for Bradley Beal is just that, like you said, this loyalty. But, a lot of those players don't want, like you said, are in it to win it, of course. They want to be on the championship teams, but I think with Bradley Beal, I think he wants validation. He wants to be the big fish in a little pond type thing, and he's earned it. From being there and being loyal to that contract. But they got some good pieces too. So they shouldn't be totally terrible. I think they'll do good. But congrats to him for getting that big payday. And like you said, he's trying to be the one they build around, and kudos to Washington for giving him the money to keep him around for that. And we'll see what happens after that.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see here. Adrian Wojnarowski's Twitter just reset, so fuck you.
Yeah, I think Bradley Beal signing back with Washington is a smart move. And like you said, Ezra, the way that the loyalty resides, I mean, you're right. Bradley Beal could have gone anywhere to try to win a championship, whether it's with Phoenix or Golden State or Boston or Milwaukee, like you said. But it's just the loyalty that a player has for one franchise that really plays a lot of dividends. And I'll give you a prime example of another all-time NBA legend who played all but one season of his career with one team that never won a championship, and that is the mailman, Karl Malone, who played for the Utah Jazz so many years. I mean, the Jazz were never able to win a championship, even when they had Karl Malone and John Stockton both on the same team. But it's just the loyalty that Malone and Stockton had in their franchise that really pays a lot of dividends.
Yep, I definitely agree with that. I definitely see that very much with similarities in that aspect between Carl and Bradley. And you know what? Speaking of the Wizards, I mentioned John Wall. Well, John Wall has announced that he has signed a $13.2 million deal to go to the Los Angeles Clippers. We talked about that. We talked about the rumors between the Clippers and John Wall on the last show. We talked about it, but now it's officially confirmed. He has signed that contract, and he'll be with the Clippers for the next 2 years.
That's going to be an interesting task in LA. I mean, for him, because he hasn't been great the last couple of years. He hasn't been healthy for the most part in the last 4 to 5 years. And he's got a lot of pressure on him going to Los Angeles, and having Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and Kawhi is finally coming back, and hopefully he can stay healthy and all that good stuff. And it's going to be interesting. And I think LA has a lot of pressure on them this year to be successful, knowing that Golden State just won another championship, this past season. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
I agree. I agree with that 1,000%. And I know we briefly talked about it last week, but the fact that John Wall has now put pen to paper and is going to the LA Clippers, it makes Clippers question themselves saying, well, now that John Wall has officially joined us, are we going to see the John Wall that kept getting hurt for so long? Or are we going to see the John Wall that lit up defenses and was scoring at will whenever he played for the Wizards? And let me tell you, if we see the John Wall of old, the prolific scorer who made excellent plays whenever he was on his role like he had, then the Clippers could very well be the third team behind Golden State and Phoenix to look out for in the West, and possibly if Phoenix out there again, we could see a Clippers Warriors Western Conference Finals matchup. But that is if John Wall, Kawhi, and Paul George can all stay healthy and can stay together as a unit.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'm rooting for John Wall. I always liked watching him, even if he is on the Clippers. I think that's a good fit for him, and they do they'll do a lot of running, so he'll fit right in, and it's going to be interesting. They'll definitely be in the mix at the end of the season. I just hope he can stay healthy for a whole season and a postseason.
I think they'll be in the mix. It's just that, it's going to be rather interesting to see where they finish this upcoming year, because the West is super deep. I mean, Golden State, Phoenix, Dallas, Utah, we'll see how they do now that, we'll get to that in a little bit with Rudy Gobert going, there out of there in Minnesota. We'll see how Minnesota's going to be, because Minnesota, guys, was one of the best stories in the National Basketball Association last year. And they were the 7th seed and had a great run. And then they met some guy named Ja Morant and Memphis Grizzlies in the first round and had a hell of a series. And it's going to be a very interesting season, because Memphis, with the players that they have, and the Clippers are pretty much, we think, are going to be back, at the forefront of one of the top contenders. But there's a lot of pressure on these guys, and this will be a big three in Wall and Kawhi and George that haven't played together, and this will be their first year playing together. And we shall see how they do.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yep, definitely.
That'd be great.
Yep. One of the other free agency signings was Jalen Brunson. A lot of people were expecting, where would he go? And it's he's decided he's gonna go with the New York Knicks. 4 years, $102 million.
Well, I hope it works out for you, pal, because this was not a great team decision to go to, because the Knicks are just a colossal failure. And he should have stuck with Dallas and took less money, because, he was decent in Dallas, and Luka found him in his spots, at times. And he had a good run in Dallas when he was there. But, man, this is not a good move for him, especially team success-wise, because the Knicks are just, let's be honest, guys, they're not even good. They're not even good.
The Knicks, the Knicks, they had their share of good teams back in the day. And notice I'm saying back in the day, because they had Patrick Ewing and
John Starks.
There you go, Max Starks, and Latrell Sprewell, who he never led New York to any promised lands, but he was a decent player. But New York was real heavy on Jalen Brunson, and I understand New York is trying to look up now, but they still got a long way to go before they can even think of themselves as an up and rising Eastern Conference team.
Joey, there's the key word you just said, look up. You know why? Because the Knicks are going to be looking up all right at the Celtics and the Hawks in their division, doing better than them. Hell, the Brooklyn Nets, as much of a dumpster fire that organization is, will do better than the New York Knickerbockers. Give me a break. I mean, my goodness gracious. Jeez Louise.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. I
Good
mean,
Lord, you even got Ezra dying over there.
Now, I've even heard. I was listening today, and that the Knicks are in trouble. Are in trouble. Not the word in trouble, but in danger, as what I should say, of getting caught for tampering with Jalen Brunson. So they may even lose a draft pick over this. So what a
The news
fiasco!
just keeps
They traded all their players before the draft, and they were doing all kinds of stuff before the draft and unloading salary.
bad luck keeps
Oh, my
piling
Lord.
on.
Yeah.
yep.
So couldn't happen to a better team, I'll tell you.
Yeah, the Knicks had a nice little spurt, a couple years ago, and then they just faded away. They made the playoffs, whoop-de-freaking do, and haven't done diddly squat in a couple years. Last year.
I gotta say real quick, if it wasn't for the Yankees and the Mets playing so well right now, New York sports would just be a huge dumpster fire.
Oh yeah,
No doubt, yeah. Got that right.
Oh
And
yeah.
see, and like I said a few weeks ago, the Mets may be playing good right now, but it's only a matter of time before they collapse. Just saying.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
yep.
And of course, we got to talk about this next deal, and this is one of the biggest ones of this entire run. Karl Anthony Towns
Mm-hmm.
has rolled up the Brinks truck, man, because he's got himself a 4-year, $224 million payday from the Minnesota Timberwolves. This deal begins with the 2024-25 season and delivers Towns' total contract value to 6 years and $295 million.
Woo!
Good Lord.
Yes.
He's- He's rich. What's
If you
weird
get
about
$1 million off of
yeah, really. He can afford it.
him. For real.
Yeah,
Man.
what's wild? Oh, go ahead, Steve.
He had a great year last year for Minnesota, leading them to the playoffs. And oh man, he deserves that big fat contract. And great player, great rebounder, great scorer for a big guy. And get that money, big boy. Deserved it.
Yep, absolutely.
Go ahead, Randy.
Oh yeah, that's good. I was thinking that Karl Anthony Towns could have been on his way out of Minnesota. It was so weird to hear that they brought in Gobert of all players. There's this guy. He's got a lot bigger. They're gonna have a hard time guarding some of them smaller guys on the perimeter and stuff. And but I'm glad that he signed with them. You come to know him in Minnesota, they kind of go hand in hand. But you think with the way Minnesota's been the last couple of years with their players, trading them and different things, and not wanting to sign them. Just ask Kevin Garnett about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And so it was surprising that they dished out the money to keep them, and then go get someone like Gobert. Is proof that Minnesota is believing in what they did in the playoffs, and are looking forward to a bright future.
And this is how teams get on the right footing. When you have great young talent that you get in the draft, by drafting well, by knowing what your team needs to make your team better, and to make your fans also believe in your organization that you're supporting. Because Minnesota last year, those crowds showed up nicely, and they were on their feet at these games and just feeling the energy in the building, and they believed in their team. But unfortunately, Memphis was the better team in that series, and at times Minnesota should have won that series against Memphis. And if there would have been a couple of plays that went their way, they could have won that first round series against Memphis in 7. And now that they got Rudy Gobert going there, ooh, Lord have mercy. That is an excellent acquisition for the Timberwolves. And it's going to remind me of the days of Kevin Garnett when he was down there in Minnesota with all those big guys down there dominating the paint,
yeah.
playing that dominant defense. And now that they got their defensive tandem and Gobert and Townsend, oh my God, like they're going to be out freaking standing. I mean, just blocking shots, and I think Gobert, it's a hot take here, but if he stays healthy, I think Rudy Gobert is going to win the Defensive Player of the Year for the NBA.
Hey, I mean, I wouldn't deny that. I wouldn't deny that because Gobert is such a defensive strategist who not only can get 10, 15, 20, he can also snag offensive rebounds to get easy layups, which can easily give him, I say about 15, 16 points a night. I mean,
right, because he's a true center who stays there in the paint. He knows his role. He is probably one of the last few true centers who does not stand there on the outside and shoots mid-range J's or three-pointers. He is a true big man's big man. He's the Shaq of the days, Hakeem, and all those, Kareem and Bill Russell and Wilt the Great Chamberlain, and man, I can keep going down the line, on all these big men that he reminds me of, and just absolutely deserves where he's at with Minnesota. And I think he's going to be a great part of this team. And they're going to go, I think, you know what? Another hot take. I think Minnesota's going to be the number 6 seed in the Western Conference this upcoming year.
Hey, you know what? I'm actually going to up that hot take. I see Minnesota possibly challenging for at least a top 4 seed in the Western Conference next year.
Okay.
Because not only do they have those inside playmakers in Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert, but they also have a sharp shooting outside force.
Sure.
I think I can't remember who all is on the Minnesota T-Wolves backcourt, but I think D'Angelo Russell's back there, if I'm not mistaken.
He is.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
Yep.
he is.
He is
D'Angelo
there.
Russell. He is a sharp shooter from behind the 3-point range. And honestly, I'm actually gonna up my own hot take right now. Just we all know Golden State is going to be the top seed in the West because they got such elite talent that can go on for years and years and years. But honestly, I see the number 2 seed in the West coming down to a possible 3 to 4 team dogfight, especially 3 teams with the Clippers, the Suns, and yes, I'm going to say it, the Timberwolves. I can see it happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
You never know what can happen in the West because, like we mentioned early in the show, the Western Conference is always so deep because you got all these teams with all these elite playmakers who can get anything done night in and night out if they want to.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the next big trade, of course, we got to talk about is none other than the one, the only. Well, we got to talk about Ja Morant. Ja Morant signed a 5-year, $193 million designated rookie maximum extension with Memphis. That could become worth $231 million. Ja Morant definitely the star, definitely one of the big stars of that team for sure.
Smart move by Memphis, bringing in their star player, but I gotta say one thing: if Memphis does not bring in any backup to help Ja Morant out on the court, and the players that Memphis has now, I mean, they can do a halfway decent job. But as far as a true elite talent that can back up Ja Morant, if Memphis does not go out and get that person, Memphis could struggle this year.
Oh yeah. And Morant, up until the injury last year, was one of the top rising stars and a freakish athlete. I believe he's 21, 22.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Something like that.
incredible specimen of a player. Great young player. Deserves it.
Yep. Absolutely. And then, of course, Phoenix Suns that locked down their boy for a long while, and that is Devin Booker. Devin Booker, he signed a 4-year, $224 Supermax extension The deal begins in 24-25. It brings Booker's deal to 6 years, $295 million.
If only he could teach Chris Paul how to be a leader.
Oh.
Definitely. Yeah.
If only he could teach Chris Paul how to be a leader and how to be a point guard.
It's funny because it's true.
It's damn true.
You know it's true. You know it's true on loop.
But it's pretty predictable signing. Come on, Phoenix is not going to give up Devin Booker for anything, and keep him around. That's pretty much the only piece that's going to keep Phoenix even close to the playoffs at this point. If they don't find other players that'll build their team around him, because it seems like even though they do have guys like DeAndre Ayton, even though DeAndre is now a free agent, but he had people like that, and then Chris Paul was great for what he did, but he just never led the team. So basically, it's Devin Booker versus the world.
Yeah.
You got to find better. You got to find better pieces to build around them. Otherwise, they're going to be in the exact same spot where they left off last year.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
I can't. Of course, I want to keep talking about other deals, but we got to talk about this one, and that is the biggest deal of the entire league. Hell, the largest deal in the entire NBA in history. That is, of course, Nikola Jokic. He's agreed to a 5-year, $270 million Supermax contract. The deal includes a player option and trade kicker. Total value of the Jokic deal is 6 years at $303 million.
Wow.
And back-to-back.
MVP the past couple of years has played an excellent elite level of basketball. And man, what a payday he deserves.
Absolutely. I mean, back-to-back NBA, winning back-to-back NBA MVPs get you that kind of contract. So,
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, definitely. We get also some other deals. I know this is a lot of NBA talk, but unfortunately, with all the other sports pretty much dead right now, there isn't much to talk about.
Right.
no, there really isn't.
Thankfully, there's NBA
Except
to
for a
talk
little
about.
bit of baseball.
Yeah, but definitely, I definitely want to get into some the standings and stuff like that. I definitely want to talk about that. But we'll definitely get into that after we get through some of this stuff. Ricky Rubio is actually returning to Cleveland.
Interesting.
Yep. Ricky Rubio.
Interesting.
Ricky Rubio is nearing a deal to return to Cleveland, so he's pretty much back on the team.
All right,
Ricky Rubio was one of my favorite players in the NBA because of his speed. Because what's one of the things he has? He has speed. He has bursts of agility. The guy was a great player. He just got hampered with injuries and kind of got lost in the shuffle. And to me, if he wouldn't have got hampered with those injuries and would have been, more of a star caliber player, I think we'd be talking about Ricky Rubio in a different light right now. Plus, he didn't have great teams to build around him either.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's never played on a great team. It'd be interesting if he would have been in Minnesota to see him play with the Gobert and those jokers, Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns and them. That would have been real good to see. But yeah, he should he'll thrive in Cleveland. I think they were on the cusp of something when he got hurt. So I think that's why he went back. I mean, because Rubio, like you said, is an elite player. He could have went anywhere. For him to go back to Cleveland with that young nucleus says a lot about Cleveland being a good destination. And
Cleveland has some decent players, and they were one of the teams that were vowing for a playoff spot, last year, and then Atlanta took it from them. If Cleveland would have won that last game, they would have taken the final spot in the Eastern Conference playoff bracket. And this is a pretty good signing for Cleveland. Although if I was if I would have been him, I would have stayed in Minnesota, because man, just he thrived up there all those years, with Karl Anthony Towns and man, just Rubio, he'll be good up there in Cleveland, but man, should have said in Minnesota. Come on.
I agree with that. Yeah. But one of the other free agent signings is Portland Trailblazers locked down one of their star players for 4 more years, and that being Yusuf Nurkic. Yusuf Nurkic is been locked down now, 4 years, $70 million deal.
Ah, man, that's a lot of money on a guy who has had injuries in the past. And I mean, it's a good signing for them, but I would have taken a little bit of less money. That's just me, maybe like 40 million, 50 million, whatever. But that's a little too much, for a little too steep. I mean,
yeah, I think I'm more in the realm of like a 50, 55 million,
sure.
maybe, and that's pushing it. But to me, 79 mil or 70 million like that, to me, it's just a little steep for a guy, like you said, who's been injury riddled and, hasn't had the best of performances. But yet, I mean, yes, is he a key cog player for them? Absolutely.
Up until he got injured, he was one of the best blocking big men in the NBA.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, he's good. Great game. Definitely.
Yeah, it's just I do agree with you, Steven and Joe. I do agree. The price is just a little bit too high.
Right.
I mean, I can see why maybe they just want to keep him from going anywhere else where they could offer him that same amount. I get it, but also you got to understand you're not only your player's value, but you got to look at that. You got to look at that salary cap and that luxury tax you may pay. You got to be careful with that. You can't be doing signings like this all the time. So hopefully this doesn't become a pattern for Portland to do stuff like this.
Absolutely, because Portland, they need to build around Damian Lillard and convince him to stay. Because it would not surprise me in the next year or two if Damian Lillard decides to leave Portland. Because Portland has been on the cusp of going deeper into the playoffs, but every time they meet a great team like the Golden State Warriors a couple of years ago in the Western Conference, I believe it was the Western Conference Finals.
It was the finals, yeah.
I think it was, yeah. And Portland had a great Cinderella story that year and a great season, highlighted by Damian's game-winning shot from near half court against OKC in the playoffs to send Russell Westbrook and them home, losers. And Lillard, I think, as long as he stays healthy, he is one of the best point guards in the NBA. And just a great shooter, great point guard. He plays his role very well, and he knows how to shoot the lights out. Great free throw shooter, great point guard, all that good jazz. And we shall see how Portland does this upcoming year.
Yep. Absolutely. But we got to get to we met and we talked about these guys a lot over the past few months, and that is the Golden State Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
And they made a smart move by keeping one of their star centers around for 3 more years. They announced that Kevon Looney has agreed to a 3-year, $25.5 million deal to stay with the current NBA champions.
Great contract for him. He deserves it. It's the right amount of money, because if they want to get a star player back, we'll get down that road to that one in a little bit. But this is a great move for Golden State to keep him at this contract, because this is the right money they're spending on him, and he plays his role very well. And that's the one thing about the Golden State this year that drove me crazy. I know it drove Kevin crazy too, because there was times when Looney was not in the lineup and he should have been, because when he's on there on the floor, he is playing excellent defense and blocking and getting rebounds and getting all the hustle plays, the money balls, if you will, and hustling down the floor and getting the ball when it's loose on the floor, or when the 3-point shot is missed. And he can go and crash the boards and get the offensive boards for Golden State. And excellent job by Steve Kerr in Golden State.
Absolutely. And the Warriors knew that going into the offseason, that they knew that signing Kevin Looney back to the team was going to be the number one priority, and they went out and got it done. So kudos to you, Looney, for getting your contract, and kudos to Steve Kerr for making another smart coaching move.
Yep, that's why he's one of the best.
Absolutely. Randy?
Yeah. I think we're going to get into more of what we were talking about with a certain player. But Looney stayed. He could have went anywhere to play.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's a high commodity, good team player. Quietly one of their best players You forget with all the other great players. You're like, oh yeah, there's Looney dunking on someone or taking a big play, getting a big block or a big rebound. You kind of forget. That's just a testament of Golden State. Drafting, like we said, just great drafts and keeping their core together, which is something they definitely need to do, and not do another move that they may do, because they even have to have their heads examined for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you want to talk about getting your team needing your head examined? This next pick, I mean, they gave up so much for one guy.
Oof.
You know what I'm talking about. You know exactly who I'm talking about. And that is the Timberwolves they are getting Rudy Gobert. The Rudy Gobert trade, man. The Jazz gave up a ton of stuff just to get rid of him, almost in a sense. Right here. The Jazz are landing 4 Minnesota first-round picks and a 22 first-round pick, Walker Kessler, in the deal for Rudy Gobert. Those include 2023, 2025, and 27 picks unprotected and a top 5 protected 2029 pick to Utah.
Man, honestly, in the long run, I think Minnesota wins this trade.
I agree.
Sorry.
That's
a lot to give up, my lord.
It's a lot to give up. I mean, because
a lot to give up.
A lot.
By the way, let's do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's proven that some of these teams have drafted very well, especially like the Jazz. Over the years they've drafted pretty well in the draft. In the NBA, and it's going to be very interesting in the next couple of years. How do they do in the draft? Because that is a lot of work to make up if you're Utah, going from one of the top teams in the NBA a couple of years ago, and now they're probably not even going to be near the top 4 like they have been the last couple of years.
Oh yeah,
I definitely agree with that. We do have one that did fly under my radar, and I don't know how it did, but the Cleveland Cavaliers, we talked about all the moves they're making, bringing in guys left and right and all this stuff. But one of the biggest moves that they brought in, or they did, was keeping their rookie, Darius Garland.
Ooh.
Garland is going to stick around.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Had a great season last year for Cleveland.
He's going to stick around for 5 years, $193 million maximum designated contract that could be worth as much as $231 million, which is the largest deal in franchise history.
Wow. Talk about a ballsy move. I mean, wow. I mean, I know he had a great rookie year last year, but geez, I mean, that's pretty damn risky, in my opinion, to be signing him to a contract like that.
Hey, they're looking to build their future on somebody, and apparently that is Darius Garland right now.
Wow. Wow. $193 million.
So we'll see what happens from there, man. Let's see. That is a lot of money, but you never know. That could come back.
Exactly. You do never know in this league. I mean, because there's been teams in the past that have made ballsy moves like this in the offseason and they have paid off.
Well, it is Cleveland. I mean, it must be in the water up there. Of course it is in the water. Signing people to big contracts that might not.
Well, New Orleans is not afraid to sign anybody to big contracts either.
Nope.
No, because he just signed Zion Williamson to a 5-year, $193 million contract. That could be.
Hold up. Just now, when did this happen?
Oh yeah, they had
3 days ago.
Oh geez, I mean, come on. Come on, New Orleans. Speaking of having your head examined, New Orleans needs to have their head examined. Are they visiting Sean's graveyard ships? I mean, geez Louise. I mean, come on. I mean, this guy can't even stay healthy on the basketball court. I mean, come on. He is an injury walking of death waiting to happen because he can't stay healthy. He's had more foot issues than he's had points on the basketball court in the last couple of years combined. I mean, come on. I mean, he left Duke at such a young age. I'm 18. I know what I want. What you wanted was to go to the NBA at such a young age because you thought, oh, I could be a star because Kyrie and LeBron over the years, Kevin Garnett, Kobe Bean Bryant have made it big in their teenage years, going to the NBA at such a young age. But you, sir, do not deserve to be getting paid $193 million contract money because you can't stay healthy. There's my mini rant for the night. What a bunch of bullshit.
Joe, how do you follow this up?
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't know if I can because Steven nailed it right on the money.
Oh, my goodness. Why? Oh, wait. Because New Orleans. Oh, my God. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I don't.
I just don't get it. You know what? I just don't get it with this team. Like, why would you do that?
They didn't even make the they made the playoffs by the skin of their teeth last year, and they didn't even get out of the first round. Come on, give me a break.
Boston, this is New Orleans. This is what I'm thinking right now.
I can't believe you've done this.
I can't believe you've done this. You guys have never. I'm just gonna say this. A little break into sports. If you have never seen that video, you've got to find it. This British guy. This guy's British. He's got a tie around his like a necktie around his head, and he's talking. And his friend just comes and punches him straight in the head, and he goes, "Oh fuck! I can't believe you done this." And he says it nonchalantly, just like, "I can't believe you done this." It's like, and it's so stupid. It's funny. That's where that comes from.
Nice.
That's what it do with effects you will hear when we hear trade stuff or stupid things that happen. You will hear that. You will hear that young outstanding British man say this phrase once again.
Done this. Oh fuck! I can't believe you've done this.
But anyways, moving on. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I like the sound that Ezra plays every week. Dun dun dun.
Oh, I know. Oh, wait. Wait a minute, Joe. Wait a minute, buddy. I think you mean this one.
Yep.
That's the one.
Yep. New Orleans, you lose. Continue at failing.
That's it.
I got moving on.
That's the most minutes New Orleans will get on their basketball team on this show until they are actually successful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which will be in the year of never.
Damn.
Yeah.
Let's see. There was one of the biggest, since we're kind of on the end of the big trades and the big numbers. Here's one of the biggest things is being talked about right now in the NBA is actually nothing to do with trades. It actually involves rumors of the sale of the Portland Trailblazers. Well, Jody Allen, who is the de facto owner of the Seattle Seahawks and the Portland Trailblazers, said in a statement Tuesday that the teams are not currently for sale, but eventually will be. So there could be a brand new owner for these teams, depending on who buys it. I mean, come on, Walmart just bought the Denver Broncos. I mean, come on, and the rumor is, and like we said a few weeks ago, they're going to be renamed the Denver Rollbacks. But I digress.
Yes.
It's just like their tickets. It's just like Walmart's prices. Their tickets will be super low.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Get
moving off that topic, but back to that, yeah, there seems to be that going on. So, any thoughts on that possible sale and all that? Anything?
It'd be rather interesting to see what comes out of this because this hasn't been done in quite some time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Free agent guard TJ Warren has agreed to a 1-year deal with the Brooklyn Nets. That was just announced about 10 hours ago.
Oh.
No, former NC State player going to the land of Loserville. Hey.
Oh, the Lakers?
Nah,
Speaking of the Lakers,
the land
of the Lakers,
of Loserville in the Eastern Conference.
speaking of the Lakers, we got to get into this. As many of you know, the biggest saga going on right now is Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant last week requested a trade out of Brooklyn. And there have been many teams that have been named as possible landing spots. Miami, Atlanta, Chicago. Now, the biggest one is the freaking Lakers. Rumors going around.
Oh,
Kevin
Lord.
Durant is looking to return with LeBrick, aka LeBron James, or LaFlop, and Russell Westbrook. So,
just
you know what?
imagine.
You know what? Floors to anybody. Let loose on this. I want to hear these rants.
You know, I gotta say, I mean,
Oh.
Kevin Durant is already looking washed up. He's already looking washed up, and Westbrook, we all know he's washed up.
How the hell did the Lakers keep him?
LeBron is, I mean, like we said last week, LeBron is an absolute piece of toxic in the locker room who doesn't know what being a true leader is. Oh, you know what? I got to give kudos to one very certain player. I can't remember who he signed with, but the fact that he's gone from the Lakers now is absolutely outstanding for his career. But kudos to you, Mr. Malik Monk, for finally getting out of that toxic, poison atmosphere known as the Los Angeles Lakers. And I mean, Darvin Ham, I mean, who the heck is this guy? Who is this guy? Does he know
Who?
how to coach? I mean, the Lakers, I'm at a loss for words right now with how bad this is sounding right now. Absolute loss for words.
I cannot believe that Kevin Durant, there's rumors going around that that the Lakers could get him. If he goes to the Lakers, he is cursed for life for joining the toxic waste that is the Los Angeles Lakers. Because if you thought they were going nowhere with Carmelo and Russell Westbrook and LeBron at the helm and Anthony, I can't stay healthy, Davis, if Kevin Durant goes to the Los Angeles Lakers, joins AD, LeBron, and Russell Westbrook, you, my friends, are flirting with disaster, and you will lose in the long run. I mean, he is going to have to carry that entire team on his back.
You know, the possibility of Kevin Durant joining the Lakers, and Stevie, you're going to get a kick out of this. The possibility of Kevin Durant joining the Lakers is about as stupid as saying that Ben Simmons is the best player in the NBA.
Or one of the best free throw shooters of all time. Or even better, how about a jump shooter, especially in this day and age of the NBA? If they told Ben Simmons, hey, Ben, there's 3 seconds left in the game, give me a three-pointer. I can't. Why? Because I can't shoot. Why? Because I haven't practiced. And I'm in a game, not practice.
But you know what? Even with 2 to 3 seconds in the game, the Lakers might have 4 players on the court because LeBron would have left 3.5 minutes ago.
Yep.
No, I don't envision a scenario where
Sorry, guys, I'm back. I was doing my version of LeBron leaving.
well, there's not 2 minutes left. But I don't envision seeing a Lakers team with Westbrook and KD and LeBron and those jokers. I think Westbrook will go to Brooklyn.
That'd be fantastic because him and his boy Kyrie, if he stays there, they can play hardball all the damn time. And give me the ball. No, you give me the ball. Give me the ball. Give me the ball. Give me the ball. Give me the ball.
They deserve each other.
Just imagine if the Lakers ever had a starting five, which consisted of Russell Westbrook, LeBron, KD, Anthony Davis, and Ben Simmons.
Sir.
Kobe Bryant would be turning over in his grave saying, "Why did I ever get involved with this franchise?"
Or Joey, as we say in the football year, what the hell, bro?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. I mean, ugh.
Just imagine if that would have ever happened. My Lord, I can't even picture that right now. I'm going to be having nightmares tonight now because I just said that.
Yeah, in the chat, there's some interesting conversation, and I said that KD and LeBron can have a battle of the hairlines every day at practice.
It's not the stadium tour; it'll be the hairline tour.
Yeah, not headline, but hairline tour. Yeah.
Tonight's top hairline is LeBron James.
Oh man. Battle of the hairlines.
Steven.
Ezra's got his head in his hands now. He's like, "Oh my Lord, why am I listening to this crap?"
Steven.
I can't believe you've done this.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. Receding hairline. My bad.
Oh Lord!
Thank you, fine British gentlemen, for
the Lakers. The Lakers. If they get Kevin Durant, they're basically like the losers at the end of the fucking cliffhanger game.
Yeah. Yup.
Yeah. So when you finally get KD, you're gonna hear this.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it. No.
Yep.
I thought.
Yep.
Here's my quick thoughts on this. This would be a total mistake. I mean, you're basically weighing more anchors on a ship that's sinking anyways.
Yes.
And this is no slight, like Kevin Durant. Yes, he was one of the best players in the league. Unfortunately, due to injuries and all that, he's kind of broken down now. He's not what he used to be by any stretch.
No.
And Russell Westbrook, like I said, he's not what he used to be. And LeBron is only a few years away before I believe he'll retire.
Surprised he hasn't called it quits already.
Surprised he hasn't left and gone to another team.
I know.
I'm surprised he hasn't gone back to Cleveland or Miami yet.
Well,
God, sure Miami could use him.
With all this talk about LeBron, I actually happened to see something the other day saying that as of this point, LeBron is not committed to staying in Los Angeles now.
He's not.
They're saying that he's looking to look at the team's plans and see what they do as far as winning is concerned.
Yeah.
So I mean, if they don't, so if he doesn't see a desirable path right now, LeBron could be on his way out. Yeah.
Yep.
I definitely agree with that. Now that that's been discussed, let's go ahead and let's break away from the NBA for a few minutes and let's go into we wanted to talk about it. Let's talk a little Major League Baseball, man. We don't get into a lot of MLB discussions because there hasn't been a lot happening, but let's get into the standings right now, which is going to be interesting. I'm pulling it up right now. The standings right now in the AL right now, the Yankees right now in the overall standings, because they're only giving me states. Yeah, the Yankees right now are lead the entire lead the entire American League right now, 58-22, followed by the Houston Astros, who have the next slot. It's pretty remarkable. The Yankees once again are just dominating once again in the American League. Right now, it's the Yankees, Houston, Boston, Minnesota, Toronto, Tampa Bay in the top 7 right now. All those in Cleveland, all those have above 500. Right now in the American League and in the National League,
You got the Mets and the Braves right neck and neck with each other. I mean,
the Dodgers actually have the lead right now. The Dodgers
Yep.
got the lead 50 and 29.
Yep.
Then the Mets, the Braves, the Brewers, dude,
The
every team,
Phillies.
San Diego, they're in that. Philadelphia, yeah, and of course the Cubs are all the way at the bottom, and
Yep.
not shocked.
It is absolutely just incredible how the Mets and the Yankees are playing great baseball all year long. Like it's going to be rather interesting to see what happens later on in the year. If this keeps up, because we might have another classic Subway Series in New York.
By the way, also want to mention too, All-Star voting is available now on NBA or at MLB.com. So for the All-Star game, an All-Star game, unlike the NBA All-Star game, is actually fun to watch.
Yes, and there is meaning to the All-Star game in MLB.
Absolutely. So that voting is up right now. If you guys want to get
And
on,
what's also fun is also the home run derby. Oh my goodness!
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
that's
that's coming up.
good
that
stuff.
the celebrity All-Star game. I love celebrity
Yeah. All-Star
games like that. So fun, man. I'll say that much. But yeah, that's the standings right now. Is you got all those teams with the Yankees. Like I said, let's go over top 5 real quick. Again, the Yankees, the Astros, Red Sox, Twins, and Blue Jays. Then in the National League, you've got the Dodgers, Mets, Braves, Brewers, and the Padres.
It's rather interesting what could happen. Oh, go ahead, Joey. Sorry.
I was going to say, tick, tock, tick, tock. It's only a matter of time before the Mets collapse because they do it every year. As a
Yep.
matter of fact,
I was
As a matter of
just
fact-
getting ready to say that.
Elder Mike.
they are already collapsing because the Mets were 10.5 games up on the National League East going into the month of June. And where are they at the end of June? Only 3 games ahead of Atlanta. They gained 7.5 games on them. It's just it's just the month of June.
And
And the Braves-
Atlanta
and the
can
Braves-
catch up.
And the Braves are still playing hot. As a matter of fact, I happened to see just real quick, they have already scored 5 runs. They scored 5 runs in the bottom of the first
Good
against the
grief.
Cardinals. 5 runs with 3, I think it was like 2 or 3 home runs in the bottom of the first.
Yeah.
So Atlanta, I'm loving this Braves team right now because they are bringing the power bats. They are bringing their power game.
You know, Joey, and to talk real quick about your Atlanta Braves, a lot of teams in the history of sports, football, basketball, hockey, baseball especially, a lot of teams, when they win those championships, or even if they lose a championship series or the Super Bowl, a lot of teams go into these declines and stuff, or the hangover, or even if those are the teams that are losing. But even if you win, sometimes the team, will relax a little bit and go, oh, we had success last year, all that stuff. No, not with Atlanta, because those bats in for the Braves are piping, scorching hot. The way they were playing excellent baseball, and just
And see,
yep.
and see,
Go ahead.
And if Atlanta keeps this up, I would not be surprised if they win a second straight World Series. this
It
year.
would not surprise me in the slightest, because if we're talking about how Atlanta is doing in the NL, in the AL, the Yankees are hot too. But the one thing that worries me about the Yankees, is, can they stay consistent when it matters the most come the fall? When the money is on the table, because that is the one thing that has plagued the Yankees in the past couple of seasons is when their bats have been hot and their pitching has been good. When it gets to the playoff time over there, in the AL Championship Series or the divisional rounds or wherever the cards fall for them, the wild card Championship Series or the divisional series. I mean, the Yankees have had their spurts where the bats have been cold and hot, and you cannot have that come September, October when it matters the most, especially or even if, fortunately for Yankee fans and the Yankees themselves, they're not a wild card team. They're not playing for that final spot. They're still at the top of the top tier of the AL, along with the Astros sneaking right there behind them, in the rearview mirror. And that's the one thing about Houston that even though we joke about them on here, on this show about how they cheated, but the Astros, when they're hot, they're dangerous. And
they are.
I know our friend Brian Rosa, he's a diehard Houston fan, and he loves his team. And I know Neil, and I know freaking Money Mark, and freaking I can go down the line of the Yankee fans, that love the Yankees.
You got Elder, who's to believe the Mets, right?
He's a Mets fan, yeah, and and unlike Tommy, these guys are not. Just because they're from New York, we're going to support both teams. No, you support one or the other.
You support one or the other.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm just a baseball fan. You got to let him go.
Yeah.
He's confused. He's taking too many chair shots. He doesn't know who he likes, what day of the week it is, or anything like that.
Oh, go A's, go Yankees, go Red Sox.
It's like Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Exactly. That's what I meant. Yeah, Tommy Dreamer says, "Go local and or sports team.
Team that's winning."
Yeah, yeah, and it's been a great year for baseball this year, and there's been some crazy sequences like last week with that big ass fight up there with the Angels last week. Good Lord!
Oh Lord, have mercy.
It has also been some downswings too. Unfortunately, I mean, unfortunate injury to Bryce Harper. Luckily, Bryce has said that he's planning on being back before the season's over. So hopefully he can get back, because Bryce is a very big component to that team, man.
Yeah,
but
absolutely. And he signed that big contract, and that's hurting him right now.
Yep.
Oh, you're taking a 97 mile an hour fastball to the thumb. That's gonna hurt.
Yes, especially at the speed that it's coming at. Yeah, that'll hurt no matter what, no matter how hard you try to to absorb the pain. But when that ball is coming at that radius of speed, you can't stop the pain.
Nope, you can't. One of the other quick things I want to mention on this is right now, and this is unfortunately ties in with one of our guys on the show, not right now, but a guy who's a frequent contributor, the Oakland A's.
Oof.
They are unfortunately the worst team in the entire league. They are 26 and a half games back out of first.
I wonder why. I wonder why. Because you gave away your star players to other teams.
I mean, and
doing that a little too often.
My Atlanta Braves, they took Matt Olson away from Oakland. So
yep.
I mean that killed them a lot, big time.
Matt's doing fantastic right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Let's see, what was that? There was something I was gonna say about that 2755 and all that. One of the other things I was gonna say about this is, if you mentioned Atlanta. Yeah, they're only 3.5 games back from the Mets right now. Right now it's and then the Phillies are 4.5 games back from you guys, and then right now, the Mets. It's the Mets, like I said, Nets, Houston, Minnesota, New York, and Dodgers. With right now, Houston having the biggest lead between teams as far as their own division in the West, in the AL West, with a 13-game lead over the Seattle Mariners.
Yes. I will say real quick, there are 3 dates that I have circled on my calendar for next week, and that is July 11th through the 13th, because we got those very same New York Mets coming to Atlanta for a 3-game series. So you better believe my eyes are going to be locked on that series to see how we can do against the Mets.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Really, outside of that, Major Leagues, I mean, they're outside of that, an All-Star game, that's pretty much it. Real quick, before we get ready to close the show out for today, not much going on in the NFL. The only notable thing that really to talk about is RG3, Robert Griffin III, was asked about a possible return to the NFL if he can. He says, I'm ready to go right now. But the question about RG3 has been, of course, since he debuted, his health. He's had multiple knee surgeries. His knee is shredded. He's not the player he used to be. We talked about this before with Robert Griffin III when it came to knee injuries, when we talked about injuries in the NFL. And to me, this is my personal opinion once again. Robert Griffin III just needs to not play.
No,
Only because I think despite him and when he came in being a great player, to me now he's just going to be more of an anchor to a team. He's just going to fill a space on the bench and space in the salary cap. That's all he's going to do.
See, and you know, one thing I've learned about football injuries over the years is that knee injuries are not an easy thing to come back from.
Yeah.
Well, I think he can find a home in a certain city called Cleveland if the consensus is about him what the suspension could be.
Whoa, hold on. Breaking news. Robert Griffin III signs with the San Francisco 49ers, and Jimmy Garoppolo has been released.
Lord,
Don't tell that.
If Kevin was on here, he'd log off because he'd be so upset.
That's why I had to say that.
Because he'll be watching this, and he'll be like, "What the hell, man?"
That'll be to see if Kevin was actually watching.
He'll be doing the whole face palm shit, all that stuff. Like, damn.
And then he would respond with his dial-up internet.
His Matrix dialed up internet.
The man still uses fucking CompuServe for his internet service.
Oh, sorry, Kevin, miss you.
Sorry, Kev. But like you said, Randy. I mean, if RG3
you're gonna dial up internet.
Oh, Kevin's coming on. Oh, I thought maybe he was coming on.
But
I think hold up, Joey. I think he's trying to reconnect again. Try it again.
Oh, he missed.
Oh.
Well, that's the same thing. It's the same thing either way.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Frozen in time. Damn it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But yeah, I mean, if RG3 is ready to play, then maybe Cleveland should come calling, because if Deshaun Watson gets suspended for a good chunk of the year, possibly the whole year, Baker Mayfield's not going to want to play for Cleveland. So at this point, having RG3 would be better than having Jacoby Brissett.
Oh yeah.
I definitely agree with that, Stephen.
Real quick, as far as this whole Kyrie thing, what do you think happens?
Oh yeah, that's right. We forgot to talk about Kyrie. Yeah, let's talk.
We sure did.
Yeah, let's talk about this whole Kyrie situation. There's been so many, things going on with trades and all that have been denied, and it's all a mess. What do you think about this whole thing? Where do you see, if Kyrie goes, where do you see him go? Because Steven, from what I've been trying to keep track of, of course, with 4th of July and my birthday, it's been a little hectic. Any updates from your end on anything involving Kyrie?
I don't have any further updates at this point, but man, there's a lot of stories floating around in the NBA. I mean, I know whenever the latest stories come out, we'll know what's going on, but man, there's a lot of conflicting reports of what's happening, what's not happening. And there is no telling at this point what's happening with Kyrie. I mean, because who knows, man? I mean, Kyrie is a very interesting piece to this puzzle in this offseason. This is the Kevin Durant, LeBron James kind of situation from a couple of years ago, with Durant in 2016, LeBron obviously 12 years ago in 2010. This is, even though Kyrie is not a free agent, but he is still the talk of this free agency offseason because of where will he go? Reportedly last week he was going to stay with Brooklyn, but that is still out of the question. There's still rumors that he could be traded, and there's no telling what's happening. I mean, have you guys heard anything yet about this? What do you think?
I look at I follow Legion's Hoops like Ezra does on Twitter, and they have on here that Wojnarowski is talking about Kyrie to the Lakers.
And if that happens, man, that'd be a huge disaster because, I mean,
they couldn't get along, a couple years ago. Why would they even try now?
I mean, Kyrie and LeBron butted heads about 5-6 years ago because Kyrie wanted to go on his own. Well, I think he had to learn the hard way going to the Celtics and then going to the Nets, and how fitting it's thundering over here. So that dark cloud is over Kyrie's head. And it's going to be rather fitting and interesting with this offseason because where does Kyrie go from here? Because he could stay with the Nets. He could go to the Lakers. I mean, I honestly, truly think he will end up with the Lakers. I don't know when, but, it's really interesting what could happen with this because Kyrie and LeBron, I guess, have been talking, for what we've been hearing, about wanting to mend fences and all that stuff. And your pops brought it up here in the chat, about, possibly, wanting to team back up together. I mean, do they have chemistry? Absolutely, they have chemistry. I mean, they won a championship together, for goodness sakes, against Golden State in 7 games, and they had chemistry. But honestly, if I was Kyrie, honestly, this is just my opinion, I would honestly trade, even though right now it probably won't happen, but this is just me, hear me out. I think that Russell Westbrook needs to be dealt to Brooklyn for Kyrie. Somehow could that happen? Because that's the only way this would make somewhat sense, because I cannot just picture Kyrie and Russell Westbrook playing on the same basketball team with LeBron, with Anthony Davis. That would be a huge headache of a team.
And with a first-year coach too, that would be disaster.
Yes.
So it's hard to say. It's hard to say what'll happen.
Yeah,
it's just going to be interesting the next couple weeks.
Absolutely. Joe, you got any more thoughts on this?
I just gotta say, Kyrie, stay away from Los Angeles, man. Because you don't want to see your career end up in a giant cloud of smoke. Because if he goes to LA, that's what his career is going to do.
Yeah, we couldn't have him do a better guy. He's messed up.
Kyrie Kyrie has at least a little bit more talent than Russell Westbrook. So Kyrie, just stay away from LA.
Yep.
Stay away, please.
Yep,
absolutely. Real quick before we log off for tonight, quick mention to the UFC 276 pay-per-view that was this past weekend. Israel Adesanya retaining his UFC middleweight title over Jared Cannonier. And one specific thing I want to talk about is Israel Adesanya did a Undertaker
entrance. I love that.
Wow.
Came out with a cowboy hat, an urn with Cannonier's name on it, the Undertaker theme blaring, the purple light.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I have to check that out. Like, I did not catch the pay-per-view Saturday night, but oh my God, that sounds badass.
Also,
it was definitely badass. Big time.
Also in the crowd, which was awesome, was we had both WWE and AEW represented that night in the crowd. 76, because on one part of the building was Vince, Triple H, Stephanie, and Pat McAfee. And Pat
Wow.
McAfee, shout out to McAfee for living the gimmick too, because he went there with a neck brace on after the attack by Baron Corbin after the pay-per-view ended. So he still came in there with a neck brace, drinking a shot.
It's okay. It's okay because at SummerSlam in a few weeks, McAfee's gonna knock the happiness out of Corbin.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And then on the other side was AEW owner Tony Khan, and of course, good old JR, Jim Ross.
Wow.
Jim
Star
Ross.
power in Sin City after Money in the
Also, I
Bank.
got to throw this out. One man was there, and you know this man very well. Passion of the Christ, Lethal Weapon,
Yup.
Mel Gibson.
Yes.
Mel Gibson was also there as well. So one of the fighters' name was Valentina Chechenko. Actually got a picture with Mel Gibson that she posted on her social media. But back to the fights real quick. That was a great fight between Adesanya and Israel Adesanya and Jared Cannonier. That was an awesome fight. 5-round decision. Went to Adesanya, who retains the title. In the featherweight division, Alexander Volkanovski retained his title against Max Holloway in their third and looks to be final bout between the gentlemen in what was an excellent trilogy of fights. That's what I gotta say about that. And then Alex Pereira beat Sean Strickland by KO in the first 2:36 to go. And then Brian Pereira knocked out the legend Ruthless Robbie Lawler.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
TKO knockout in the second round.
Damn.
But one of the main fights one of the big fights on the pre-show though was Jim Miller versus Donald Cerrone, and what was billed to be Donald Cerrone's more likely his final UFC fight, and unfortunately it was. Jim Miller submitted Donald Cerrone with a guillotine choke in the beginning of the second round.
Mm-hmm.
And Donald Cerrone laid his cowboy hat and his gloves in the octagon in the center.
Oh wow.
So the cowboy has officially rode off into the sunset, and he is now retired from active MMA competition.
How fitting. This is where the cowboy rides away.
Yep, absolutely. And because he's one of the great, he was a legend in WEC, he was a legend in UFC and MMA in general. So congrats to Cowboy on retirement.
Yep.
Hope he enjoys it. Anything else you guys want to talk about before we call it a day?
Real quick, I just came across the news thing on my computer here that Mike Greer, the brother of Chris Greer, is the first African American to be signed as a GM for the Sharks in the NHL.
That is awesome. That is very cool because
very cool.
Not to bring race or anything into it, but the majority of players, coaches, and personnel in the NHL is predominantly Caucasian people. And there's
history has definitely been made, and that is
so
awesome.
Definitely congratulations to not only that, but if this guy is getting that position of GM, you know he's got a great mind. He's got a great mind for the team. He's going to look. He's going to look to build the San Jose Sharks into a contender. Just like they were before. So all the best to Mike Greer in all of his success, and I hope he does well with the San Jose Sharks. Just stay away from the Blackhawks, or I'll kick your ass. Anyways, anything else you guys got real quick before we call it a day?
That's it.
I think I'm good.
All right, final thoughts, guys. Let's do it. Randy, you're up, bud.
Hey, great show tonight, guys. Good talking the free agency stuff and the signings. Next couple weeks are going to be real interesting, and soon enough, training camps will be running, and we'll have some preseason games to watch finally. And this is the dog days of summer here too, man.
Oh yeah,
man. We'll be watching professional cornhole here pretty soon if there ain't nothing else on. Oh my lord.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
I know. I almost watched the fucking Nathan's hot dog eating contest. By the way, congratulations Joey Chestnut on his 15th hot dog eating contest contested. He even tackled a protester.
He even beat up somebody.
Yeah.
He's eating hot dogs and beat somebody up.
Also to add to that, he also competed with a broken foot.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
He's a
Yeah. He said
hero.
he said he didn't need to eat with his foot. So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
No. Yep.
that's
he ate
it.
60,
But yeah, hey,
67 hot dogs.
oh my
Wow.
it's 63 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
Damn.
good Lord.
Damn.
63 hot dogs in 10 minutes. Amazing.
Unbelievable.
But
yeah, as I say, great show tonight, guys. As always, thanks for having me, and enjoyed the chat as well tonight. So
we'll do.
peace out.
All right, Randy. Thank you so much, buddy. Joe, you're up, bud.
Once again, another great show with you guys. Like I said in my intro, I hope everybody had a great 4th of July. Hope you guys had a lot of fun, celebrate with friends and family. And I also want to say a special congratulations to the USFL's Birmingham Stallions for winning the first ever USFL
Championship.
championship. Yeah, congratulations to them. And now it's time for the real football to get started with
Yup.
the NFL coming back. And
And college is
counting
coming
down-
back too, baby.
Yeah,
Oh,
college
yeah.
is coming back too. And I'm counting down the weeks to our special NFL preview show. Man, I can't wait.
Because when we do that show for the first 4 weeks or so, man, it's going to be nothing but preview of both the NFC and the AFC like it was done last year.
Let's go.
Absolutely. Steven, you know the drill, buddy.
As always, great show with you guys, and we are looking forward to having our boy back on next week. K-Rock, Kevin, Rory, one of the smartest dudes knowing sports and all that good stuff. And man, what a great show as always with you fine gentlemen, and talking about the NFL, a little bit of NFL, NBA, MLB, a little UFC, all that good stuff. I mean, man, and I had a great 4th of July weekend with family and friends, and most importantly, my father is home, sweet home, baby. And
Yes.
That's great.
He's a
Glad to hear
he's a hell of a fighter.
Yes, sir, he is.
He's been through hell and back, but damn it, the hell, he is here. He is alive and kicking, and he's doing great. And I want to thank all of you guys, here on the sports show, and everybody in the Nation's Corner crew, for being there for me for the past month or so. It was the longest month of my life that I will never forget, and he's here. I'm glad that he's here. And if it wasn't for all of you guys, thoughts and prayers and well wishes and all that good stuff, he would, I don't know how I would have made it, and man, hell of a show with you guys, and looking forward to our 1 year anniversary this Saturday night for the Nation's Corner. That's right, because 1 year ago on July 10th, 2021, the Nation's Corner happened, and it's still happening. And you can follow us on Twitter at Nation's Corner, everywhere else, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, you know the drill. It's at the Nation's Corner. And like, share, and subscribe, because the Nation's Corner will be live for its 1 year anniversary celebration at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific.
Absolutely, man. It's going to be a great show.
You know the drill. Wrap it up, my friend.
Absolutely, dude. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you to everybody for watching this show. As always, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff with our Nation Sports Show. By the way, we will have the new custom link up just to remind you guys for next week's show, possibly within the next day or so, whenever YouTube decides to, get their act together and grant us the fucking URL. But with that said, also real quick, I don't want to end it on a sour note or a sad note, but I do want to send from our shows, from Nation's Corner, from here to Sports Show to Too Sweet Cosplay, from all of our groups that we're involved in, prayers, condolences. It's just go to the family and friends of those that were lost in the horrific shooting that took place on Independence Day in Highland Park, Illinois. I live about an hour and 15 minutes southeast from Highland Park. A very tragic event. A gunman on a roof blazed down with bullets from a high-powered rifle, taking out 7 individuals and injuring nearly 30 others. So it was a horrific day. What was supposed to be a normal parade on the 4th of July turned into a tragic scene of blood and violence. And definitely from all of our groups, all of our shows, we send prayers, well wishes, condolences to all those that are unfortunately deceased and to those who are healing right now, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually from this horrific attack. But
I also want to add in something real quick. I also want to extend my heartfelt condolences to the family of 82-year-old Hank Goldberg, who passed away yesterday on his 82nd birthday. So my condolences and my prayers go out to his family.
Yep, absolutely. And to end the news on a positive note, the Lakers still suck. There you go. All right, here we go. That's it, guys. For Stephen Wyand, for Randy Giron, for Joseph Thornton, and for our boy, even though he's not here, and I've always got to say it, for our boy Kevin Rory, I'm Ezra Vickery, and we will see you next week for another awesome edition of our Nation Sports Show. Take care, everybody. Have a great week, and hope you had an awesome 4th of July. Peace out, guys.